The last time I saw my twin sister Jennifer, she was wearing a white coat that didn't belong to her, smiling that perfect smile that fooled everyone but me. That's the thing about twins. You always know when the other one is lying. My name is Kaylee, and I've spent my entire life being the other daughter. You know the type, the one whose achievements gather dust while her sister's mediocre accomplishments get framed and displayed on the living room wall. The one who works 3 jobs to put herself through nursing school while her parents fund her twins' supposed medical education. Did you hear about Jennifer's latest accomplishment? Mom gushed during our monthly family dinner. She's presenting her research at a conference in Boston next month. I stabbed my fork into the overcooked chicken, remembering the Instagram stories I'd seen of Jennifer partying in Miami that same weekend. Really? That's interesting. You could learn something from your sister's dedication, Dad chimed in, his reading glasses perched on his nose as he scrolled through his phone, probably looking at more fake achievements Jennifer had sent them. Maybe if you'd applied yourself more, you could have been a doctor too. Amy, my best friend since high school, squeezed my knee under the table. She was the only one who knew the truth, the only one I'd invited to my nursing school graduation when Jennifer conveniently scheduled a medical conference the same weekend as my ceremony. Actually, I started, then stopped as Mom's face lit up at the sound of her phone chiming. Oh! Jennifer just sent a photo from her rounds at the hospital. Mom turned the phone around, showing us a picture of Jennifer in scrubs, posing next to some medical equipment. I recognized the set from a medical TV drama. Jennifer had always been good at staging photos. Where's Jennifer anyway? Amy asked innocently. I haven't seen her at family dinner in months. The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's smile faltered slightly. She's very busy with her residency, dear. You know how demanding medical school can be. I excused myself to help clear the dishes, escaping to the kitchen where I could breathe. The walls were lined with Jennifer's academic achievements, most of them fabricated or purchased online. My nursing school acceptance letter had been stuck to the fridge for exactly 2 days before disappearing into a drawer somewhere. You okay? Amy followed me, helping load the dishwasher. You know you could end this whole charade with one phone call, right? I handed her a plate, remembering the night shifts I'd worked at the diner, the weekends spent tutoring rich kids, all to pay for my education while Jennifer burned through our parents' savings. They wouldn't believe me anyway. They never have. Kaylee, Mom called from the dining room. Jennifer's calling on FaceTime. Come say hello to your sister. I walked back in, watching Jennifer's perfectly made-up face on the screen. She was wearing the white coat again, probably sitting in her apartment rather than any hospital. Sorry I couldn't make it tonight, she said, her voice dripping with fake remorse. We had an emergency case come in, and you know how it is. I did know how it was. I just finished a 12-hour shift at the cardiac unit where I'd actually helped save someone's life today. But nobody at this table wanted to hear about that. Of course, sweetie, Mom cooed. We're just proud you're doing such important work. Jennifer's eyes met mine through the screen, a flash of something, fear? Guilt? Crossing her face before she quickly looked away. I should go. Patients waiting and all that. After she hung up, Dad started complaining about some chest pain he'd been having. Mom immediately suggested he should wait to see Jennifer about it, since she's the medical expert in the family. I gathered my things to leave, the weight of their willful ignorance pressing down on my shoulders. Amy hugged me goodbye, whispering, they'll figure it out eventually. The truth always comes out. As I drove home that night, my phone buzzed with a text from Jennifer, need to talk. It's important. I ignored it, just like I'd ignored the last dozen messages from her. Whatever crisis she was cooking up, I wanted no part of it. Let her figure out her own mess for once. But as I pulled into my apartment complex, another text came through, please. Everything's falling apart. I turned off my phone and headed inside. Tomorrow, I had real lives to save, real medical procedures to assist with, real work to do. Jennifer's latest drama could wait. What I didn't know then was that her lies were about to collapse spectacularly, and somehow I'd end up right in the middle of it all. She's been withdrawing thousands from their accounts, I told Amy over coffee the next morning. Mom and Dad are too blinded by pride to even question it. We sat in our usual corner of the hospital cafeteria, stealing a few minutes before our shift started. Amy adjusted her scrubs and leaned forward. How do you know about the withdrawals? Mom left her phone unlocked at dinner. I saw the bank notifications. I stirred my coffee absently. 20,000 last month alone. For medical equipment and conference fees. Jesus. Amy shook her head. And they really believe she's Dash. Working as a resident at Mass General? Yeah. I laughed bitterly. Meanwhile, my friend Sarah, who actually works there, has never heard of her. The cafeteria was filling up with the morning shift change when my phone buzzed. Another text from Jennifer. They're going to find out. I need your help. Speak of the devil, I muttered, showing Amy the message. Are you going to respond this time? Before I could answer, my mom's number flashed across the screen. Unusual for this time of day. Mom? Kaylee, thank goodness. Her voice was shaky. Your father, he's not feeling well. We're coming to the hospital. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? His chest pain is worse and his left arm. She paused, and I could hear Dad arguing in the background. Jennifer's not answering her phone. Can you make sure someone good sees him? Maybe pull some strings through your sister. Of course. Even in an emergency, they assumed Jennifer was their best hope. Just come to the ER, I said, already standing. I'll meet you there. Amy grabbed my arm. Want me to cover your rounds? I nodded gratefully. Thanks. I should be there when they arrive. Racing down to the ER, I nearly collided with Dr. Jonathan, one of our top cardiologists. Whoa, Kaylee. Everything okay? My dad's coming in with chest pain. I explained the situation quickly. I'll keep an eye out for him, Jonathan promised. You're one of our best nurses. We'll take good care of him. I waited by the ER entrance, watching ambulances come and go. Finally, I spotted my parents' car. Dad was pale, leaning heavily on Mom as they walked in. Where's Jennifer? Mom demanded as soon as she saw me. We need her to oversee everything. Mom, let's focus on Dad right now. I guided them to the check-in desk, using my badge to expedite the process. As they wheeled Dad back for tests, I overheard Mom on the phone. Jennifer, please call us back. Your father needs you. The nurses here don't seem to know who you are. You should really talk to their supervisor about that. I bit my tongue and focused on reviewing Dad's initial readings. The numbers weren't good. Kaylee, Dr. Jonathan appeared at my side with the preliminary results. Your father's showing signs of significant coronary artery disease. We need to run more tests, but he might need surgery. Mom overheard and rushed over. We should wait for Jennifer to review the results. She's a doctor here, or at least affiliated with the hospital. I watched Jonathan's confusion flash across his face before he masked it professionally. I'm not familiar with a Dr. Jennifer on our staff, but I assure you I'm qualified to dash. She's probably just in surgery, Mom interrupted. Kaylee, can't you find out where your sister is? Just then, my phone buzzed again. Jennifer, I heard about Dad. Don't tell them anything. Please. I can fix this. I stepped away, finally typing back. Fix what? Your lies? It's too late for that. You don't understand, she replied immediately. I'm coming to the hospital. Just stall them. Dr. Jonathan pulled me aside while Mom was distracted with her phone. Kaylee, what's going on? Who's Jennifer? My twin sister, I said quietly. Who's been pretending to be a doctor here while stealing my parents' money? And now everything's about to blow up in the middle of my father's cardiac crisis. He squeezed my shoulder sympathetically. Focus on your father. Let the rest sort itself out. I nodded, watching Mom pace anxiously as she tried Jennifer's phone again. Through the window, I could see Dad hooked up to monitors, looking smaller and more vulnerable than I'd ever seen him. Jennifer's on her way, Mom announced triumphantly. She'll sort everything out. I caught Amy's eye as she passed by the ER. She mouthed, "Good luck," before disappearing down the hallway. I was going to need it. Because I knew when Jennifer walked through those doors wearing her fake white coat, everything would change. And this time, I wouldn't help her maintain the lie. Not with Dad's life on the line. Jennifer burst through the ER doors like she owned the place, white coat fluttering behind her. The confidence in her stride faltered when she saw Dr. Jonathan standing beside me. Jennifer. Mom rushed to hug her. Thank goodness you're here. These people don't seem to know who you are. I watched my sister's face carefully as she extracted herself from Mom's embrace. Her makeup was perfect as always, but I could see the cracks in her facade, the slight tremor in her hands, the way her eyes darted around the room. Mom, I need to speak with Kaylee first, Jennifer said, grabbing my arm. Professional courtesy. Before Mom could protest, Jennifer dragged me into an empty consultation room and shut the door. You have to help me maintain this for just a little longer. Are you insane? I hissed. Dad needs actual medical care, not your pretend doctor act. I know. She ran her fingers through her hair, messing up her perfectly styled waves. But if they find out now, they'll never forgive me. And the money dash. What money, Jennifer? The thousands you've been stealing from them? A nurse knocked on the door. Ms. Jennifer? Your mother's asking for you. Jennifer straightened her coat. That's Dr. Dash. Don't. I grabbed her arm. Just don't. Back in the hallway, Mom was arguing with Dr. Jonathan. My daughter Jennifer is a resident here. She should be handling her father's case. Mrs. Dash, Dr. Jonathan started, but was cut off by the sharp ring of Mom's phone. Her face paled as she looked at the screen. It's the bank. Again. She stepped away to answer it, and I could hear fragments of the conversation. Overdraft, payment declined, investment transfer. Jennifer swayed slightly beside me. I can explain everything. Save it, I snapped. Dad's test results are back. He needs emergency bypass surgery. Real surgery, Jennifer. Not the kind you can fake with Instagram photos. Everything okay here? Amy appeared, holding Dad's chart. She did a double take at Jennifer's white coat. Oh, you must be the famous doctor sister. Jennifer's face crumpled. I need air. She rushed toward the exit, nearly bowling over a patient in a wheelchair. Jennifer. Mom called after her. Where are you going? Your father needs you. I watched Mom's face transform from confusion to horror as her phone rang again. This time, it was a number I recognized, the student loan office that had been calling our house for months. What do you mean, no record of enrollment? Mom's voice rose. But we've been paying tuition for 4 years. Dr. Jonathan touched my shoulder. Kaylee, we need to prep your father for surgery. Are you okay to assist? What? No. Mom interrupted. Jennifer should dash. Mom, I said firmly. Jennifer isn't a doctor. She never was. She's been lying to you, stealing your money, and now Dad needs real medical help. The silence that followed was deafening. Mom's phone slipped from her fingers, clattering on the floor. Through the window, I could see Jennifer in the parking lot, ripping off her white coat and throwing it in a trash bin. But all the photos, the stories. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. Were fake. All of it. I took a deep breath. I'm not the doctor in the family, Mom. But I am a cardiac nurse with 8 years of experience, and right now, Dad needs surgery. Real surgery. Will you let us help him? Mom sank into a chair, her world visibly crumbling around her. All this time. Dr. Jonathan said gently, your daughter Kaylee is one of our most skilled nurses. She'll be in the operating room with me, making sure your husband gets the best care possible. Amy appeared with the consent forms. We need these signed right away. Mom's hand shook as she signed, tears dropping onto the paper. Through the window, I could see Jennifer sitting in her car, head bowed over the steering wheel. I'll go talk to Dad before the surgery, I said. He needs to know what's happening. Kaylee, Mom caught my hand. I don't understand any of this. I know, Mom. I squeezed her hand before letting go. But right now, understanding isn't as important as saving Dad's life. As I walked toward Dad's room, my phone buzzed one last time. Jennifer, I'm sorry. For everything. Please don't let him die. I turned off my phone and pushed open Dad's door. He looked up at me, tubes and wires surrounding him, fear evident in his eyes. For the first time in my life, he was going to have to trust me instead of Jennifer. And I was going to prove I was worthy of that trust, even if it meant watching my sister's carefully constructed world burn to the ground. Your heart needs help, Dad, I explained, checking his foreline. Dr. Jonathan is going to perform bypass surgery. Dad's eyes darted around the room. But where's Jennifer? She should be here, supervising everything. I took a deep breath, steadying myself against the beeping monitors. Dad, there's something you need to know, Dash. Your sister just called, Mom interrupted, hurrying into the room. She says she's consulting with her colleagues about your case. I shot her a look of disbelief. Even now, after everything, she was covering for Jennifer. Mom, stop. I turned back to Dad. Jennifer isn't a doctor. She never was. She's been lying to you both, spending your money on God knows what. Dad's heart monitor spiked. What are you talking about? Kaylee, this isn't the time, Mom pleaded. It's exactly the time, I insisted. You need to understand who's really taking care of you, Dad. Not Jennifer with her fake credentials, but real medical professionals who know what they're doing. The door opened, and Dr. Jonathan entered with Amy. We need to prep for surgery now. Dad grabbed my hand, his grip surprisingly strong. Is it true? About Jennifer? I nodded, watching his face crumple. The heart monitor beeped faster. Mister, please try to stay calm, Amy said, adjusting his medication. Your heart can't handle additional stress right now. The money, Dad whispered. All of it? Gone? We can discuss everything after the surgery, Dr. Jonathan interjected. Right now, we need to focus on getting you better. Kaylee will be assisting in the OR. Dad's eyes widened. Kaylee? But she's just a dash. One of our most competent cardiac nurses, Dr. Jonathan finished firmly. You're in good hands. As we prepped Dad for transport to the OR, my phone lit up with messages from Jennifer. They're freezing my accounts. The police want to talk to me. Please tell them I'll pay everything back. I ignored them all. In the OR prep room, I helped position Dad on the table while Dr. Jonathan briefed the surgical team. The familiar routine of scrubbing and helped calm my nerves. You okay? Amy asked, helping me with my surgical gown. I have to be, I replied, watching through the window as Mom paced the waiting room, still trying to call Jennifer. Dr. Jonathan approached me before we entered the OR. Kaylee, if this is too personal, Dash. I need to be there, I said firmly. I need to do this right. He nodded, understanding in his eyes. Then let's save your father's life. The surgery began smoothly. I fell into my role, anticipating Dr. Jonathan's needs, monitoring vitals, staying focused despite the knowledge that this was my father on the table. Halfway through the procedure, Amy stuck her head in. Kaylee, the police are here. They need to speak with your mother about Jennifer. I kept my eyes on the surgical field. Not now. They're saying something about fraud. Multiple counts. Dr. Jonathan glanced at me. Stay focused, Kaylee. This is what matters right now. He was right. While Jennifer's life was imploding outside these walls, I was helping save our father's life. The irony wasn't lost on me. Hours passed in the concentrated focus of surgery. Finally, Dr. Jonathan stepped back. Good work, everyone. He's stable. In the recovery room, I watched Dad's chest rise and fall with his breathing. Mom appeared in the doorway, her face tear-stained. Jennifer's gone, she said quietly. She emptied her apartment, left her car at the airport. The police say she took almost everything. I continued checking Dad's vitals, letting her words wash over me. But you. Mom's voice cracked. You were here. You helped save him. It's my job, Mom. It's what I've been doing for years, while you were both focused on Jennifer's lies. Dr. Jonathan appeared with the post-op report. The surgery was successful. Your husband should make a full recovery, thanks in large part to Kaylee's assistance. Mom sank into a chair, looking lost. I don't understand how he didn't see it. How he didn't see you. Before I could respond, Dad stirred, his eyes fluttering open. He focused on me, still in my surgical scrubs, and I saw something I'd never seen before in his gaze. Recognition. Real recognition. Kaylee, he whispered hoarsely. My daughter, the nurse. It wasn't quite an apology, but it was a start. As I adjusted his oxygen mask, I realized that sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't about getting even, it's about proving your worth while watching carefully constructed lies crumble on their own. 3 days into Dad's recovery, the police showed up again. I was checking his incision site when 2 detectives entered the room. "Mrs. One of them addressed Mom. "We need to discuss the extent of your daughter Jennifer's fraud." Mom's hands trembled as she clutched her coffee cup. "Can't this wait? My husband is recovering from surgery." "Unfortunately, no." The detective pulled out a tablet. "We've uncovered multiple accounts, forged documents, and a pattern of deception that spans several years. The total amount missing is close to $500,000. Dad's heart monitor beeped faster. I adjusted his medication, shooting the detectives a warning look. "$500,000? Mom whispered. "But that's everything. Our savings, the house equity." "She also opened credit cards in your names," the second detective added. "And there's evidence she sold falsified medical prescriptions." "She what?" I spun around, nearly dropping the chart I was holding. "We have reason to believe she was part of a larger prescription fraud ring. That's why we need to move quickly." Dad tried to sit up, wincing. "My little girl, a criminal?" "Sir, please stay still," I urged, helping him back down. "Your sternum needs time to heal." "Did you know?" Mom suddenly asked me. "Did you know what she was doing?" "I knew she was lying about medical school," I admitted. "But the prescription fraud? No. That's beyond anything I imagined." The door opened and Dr. Jonathan walked in, frowning at the scene. "Is everything okay here?" "Mister, your blood pressure is elevated." "We're just finishing up," the first detective said, handing Mom a card. "Call us when you're ready to make a formal statement." After they left, Mom collapsed into a chair, looking decades older. "We're ruined. Everything we worked for. The house." Dad's voice was weak. "The retirement accounts." "Let's focus on your recovery first," I said firmly, adjusting his pillows. "One crisis at a time." Dr. Jonathan cleared his throat. "Kaylee, can I speak with you outside?" In the hallway, he handed me a coffee. "How are you holding up?" "I'm fine. It's them I'm worried about. They're not just physically and emotionally drained, they're financially destroyed." "About that?" He shifted uncomfortably. "The hospital board met this morning. Given the circumstances, they're willing to work out a payment plan for your father's surgery." I blinked back unexpected tears. "They don't have to dash. You're one of our best nurses, Kaylee. We take care of our own." A commotion down the hall caught our attention. Amy was rushing toward us, her face pale. "She's here." "Who's Dash?" I started, but then I saw her. Jennifer strode down the hallway, still wearing that damn white coat, her hair perfectly styled as if nothing had changed. 2 security guards followed close behind. "Ma'am, you need to leave," one called out. "You're not authorized to be here." "My father is a patient here," Jennifer announced loudly. "I'm his doctor." "The hell you are," I stepped in front of her. "Take off that coat, Jennifer. The game is over." "You don't understand," she hissed. "I can explain everything. I just need to talk to Mom and Dad Dash." "Explain what?" I demanded. "The stolen money? The fake prescriptions? The lives you put at risk pretending to be something you're not." Mom appeared in Dad's doorway, her face hardening at the sight of Jennifer. "How dare you come here?" "Mom, please," Jennifer's voice cracked. "I was going to pay it all back. I just needed more time, Dash." "Security," Dr. Jonathan called out. "Please escort this woman out. She has no authority to be here." "You can't do this to me." Jennifer's carefully maintained composure shattered. "I'm a doctor. I belong here." "No," I said quietly. "You're a fraud. And you're breaking our father's heart all over again." As security led her away, her screams echoed down the hallway. "You'll regret this, Kaylee. You think you're better than me? You're just a nurse." "Yes," I called after her. "I am just a nurse. A real nurse who actually saves lives instead of pretending to." Mom touched my arm, her eyes wet. "I'm so sorry, Kaylee. For everything." Inside the room, Dad was watching through the window, tears streaming down his face. The monitor showed his heart rate climbing dangerously. "I need everyone out," I announced, moving to his bedside. He needs rest. As I administered his medication, Dad caught my hand. I was wrong about you, he whispered. So wrong. I adjusted his oxygen, fighting back my own tears. Rest now, Dad. Just rest. Through the window, I could see Jennifer being escorted out of the building, her white coat finally removed, revealing who she truly was, just my twin sister, no longer able to hide behind her elaborate lies. They're going to lose the house, I told Amy during our lunch break. The bank called this morning. They're foreclosing next month. A week had passed since Jennifer's dramatic exit. Dad was recovering slowly, but the financial devastation was just beginning to unfold. Can't they fight it? Amy asked, pushing her salad around. Fight it with what? Jennifer drained everything. Their retirement, their savings, even took out loans against the house. I rubbed my temples. They're talking about moving into a studio apartment. What about Jennifer? Any word? Police tracked her to Mexico, but lost her there. Apparently, she had a whole other identity set up. Dr. Jonathan approached our table, his face grim. Kaylee, we need to talk about your father's latest test results. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? There's a complication. One of the grafts isn't holding up as well as we'd hoped. He might need another surgery. I closed my eyes, remembering Mom's tears when she'd shown me their bank balance yesterday. They can't afford it. That's what I wanted to discuss. He sat down. The board approved, covering a portion of the costs, but the cafeteria doors burst open. Mom rushed in, panic on her face. Kaylee, your father's having chest pains again. We raced to Dad's room. His face was gray, sweat beading on his forehead as he clutched his chest. BP's dropping, Amy announced, checking the monitors. Get a crash cart in here, Dr. Jonathan ordered. Kaylee, I need you to I'm here. I can help. Jennifer's voice cut through the chaos. She stood in the doorway, wearing civilian clothes this time, but still carrying that air of authority she'd perfected over years of pretense. Security. I shouted, but Jennifer pushed past me to Dad's bedside. Daddy, I can explain everything. I was doing it for us, for the family. Dad's monitor started screaming. V-touch. Amy called out. Get her out of here. Dr. Jonathan commanded as we began emergency procedures. No, please. Jennifer struggled against the security guards who'd appeared. I have money. I can pay for his treatment. I just need access to one more account. You're killing him. I screamed, watching Dad's vitals plummet. Your lies are literally killing him. Mom grabbed Jennifer's arm. Haven't you done enough? Look what you've done to us. As security dragged Jennifer away, I heard her sob. I just wanted you to be proud of me. Like you were of Kaylee. Proud of Kaylee? Mom's voice cracked. We never even saw Kaylee. We were too busy believing your lies. We stabilized Dad, but the damage was done. The emotional stress had compromised his recovery. Later, in the quiet of his room, Dad beckoned me closer. I need to say something. Dad, you should rest. No. His voice was weak but determined. We were wrong. So wrong. All these years, we thought Jennifer was the successful one, the one who'd make us proud. But she was just telling us what we wanted to hear. Mom wiped her eyes. While you were actually doing it. Actually saving lives. I didn't do it for recognition, I said softly. I did it because it's who I am. We know that now. Dad reached for my hand. And we're proud. So proud. Not of what you do, but of who you are. Dr. Jonathan entered with the test results. We need to schedule another surgery soon. The complications. We'll sell everything, Mom interrupted. The house, the car, everything. No. I straightened up. I have savings. Not much, but enough for a down payment on the surgery. And I can pick up extra shifts. Kaylee, Dad's voice broke. We can't take your money. Not after everything. You're not taking it. I'm offering it. That's what family does, real family, not the fake version Jennifer sold you. Mom started crying again, but this time they were different tears. We don't deserve you. Maybe not, I agreed. But you've got me anyway. And I'm real. Everything I am, everything I do, it's all real. Through the window, I could see police officers talking to hospital security, probably about Jennifer's latest appearance. Her desperate attempt to maintain control had only revealed how little control she'd ever had. "We'll figure this out," I told my parents. Together. No more lies, no more pretense. Just us, dealing with reality, no matter how hard it is. Dad squeezed my hand. "My daughter, the nurse," he said again, but this time there was pride in his voice. Real pride, not the manufactured kind they'd been clinging to all these years. Sometimes I realized the truth hurts more than lies, but at least it heals clean. "He's crashing." Dr. Jonathan's voice cut through the tension in the operating room. "Kaylee, I need that paddles now." My hands moved automatically, years of training taking over as I passed him the defibrillator. On the table, Dad's heart had stopped beating. Again. Third time during the surgery. Clear. The shock made Dad's body jump. Nothing. Again. Dr. Jonathan called. "Come on, come on." I watched the monitor, silently pleading. This was the riskier second surgery, the one we'd hoped to avoid. The one that might kill him. Still nothing, Amy announced from her position monitoring vitals. "One more time," I said, my voice steady despite the fear churning in my stomach. "He's stronger than he looks." The paddles connected. Dad's body arched. And then, a beep. Then another. Normal sinus rhythm, Amy called out, relief evident in her voice. "He's back." Dr. Jonathan nodded at me. "Good call, Kaylee. Let's finish this." Hours passed in focused intensity. Every suture, every movement had to be perfect. This wasn't just another patient. This was my father, and I couldn't fail him. "Not now." "BP's dropping," Amy warned. "No," I muttered, adjusting his medication. "Not today, Dad. Stay with us." The door to the OR burst open. A nurse I didn't recognize rushed in. "There's a situation outside." "The other daughter, she's threatening to expose hospital records unless she's allowed in." "Focus," Dr. Jonathan commanded as my hands trembled slightly. "Your father needs you here, Kaylee. Let security handle Jennifer." He was right. I pushed thoughts of my sister aside and concentrated on the task at hand. Minutes ticked by, marked only by the steady beep of the heart monitor and the metallic clink of surgical instruments. Finally, Dr. Jonathan stepped back. "We're done. Good work, everyone." As we wheeled Dad to recovery, I heard the commotion before I saw it. Jennifer stood at the nurse's station, still trying to maintain her facade of authority. "Those records prove I worked here," she was shouting. "I demand dash." "You demand nothing," I said, stepping forward, still in my surgical scrubs. "While you're out here throwing tantrums, I just helped save Dad's life." Again. She spun around. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide the wild look in her eyes. "You think you're so much better than me, don't you? The perfect daughter?" "No," I replied calmly. "I'm just real. Something you never learned how to be." "Real?" She laughed hysterically. "You're just a nurse." I could have been a real doctor if dash. "If what?" Mom's voice cut through the tension. She stood in the hallway, looking older and tired, but stronger somehow. "If we'd given you more money to steal? If we'd believed more of your lies?" Security approached from both ends of the hallway. Jennifer's eyes darted around, looking for escape. "It's over," I told her. "The police are downstairs. Those records you're threatening to expose? They prove your fraud, not your credentials." "You don't understand," Jennifer's voice cracked. "I just wanted Dash to be special," Mom finished. "You already were. But it was never enough for you, was it?" Jennifer's shoulders slumped as security reached her. The white coat she'd lived in for so long was just a costume, and now everyone could see through it. "How is he?" she asked quietly as they led her away. "Like you care," I started, but stopped myself. Despite everything, she was still my twin. "He'll live." "No thanks to you." Mom hugged me, her tears soaking into my scrubs. "I watched through the window," she whispered. "Watched you help save him. You were amazing." Dr. Jonathan appeared, his surgical cap still on. "Your father's asking for you, Kaylee." "In recovery. Dad looked fragile but alive. Wonderfully, definitively alive. My girl, he whispered hoarsely. My real hero. Don't talk, I adjusted his oxygen mask. Just rest. No, he insisted. Need to say, sorry. For not seeing. For believing her instead of seeing you. I checked his vitals, fighting back tears. It doesn't matter now. It does, he grabbed my hand. You're the daughter we should have been proud of all along. Through the window, I could see police escorting Jennifer out of the building. Our eyes met briefly, twin sisters, mirror images, but walking completely different paths. She'll go to prison, Mom said softly. Yes, I agreed, watching my sister disappear into a police car. But maybe there, she'll finally learn to be real. Dad's monitors showed strong, steady rhythms, much like my own heart, finally beating with the recognition and pride I'd never known I needed. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. Sometimes it's about standing in your truth while lies crumble around you, about saving those who never saw you, and finding strength in being exactly who you are. Ready to go home, Dad? I adjusted his wheelchair while Mom gathered the last of his belongings from the hospital room. Not to the apartment, he said quietly. Doesn't feel like home. The small two-room apartment they'd moved into after losing the house was a constant reminder of Jennifer's betrayal. I understood his reluctance. Actually, I said, pulling out a key, I have a surprise. Amy's moving in with her boyfriend, so I have an extra room in my place. It's yours if you want it. Mom dropped the bag she was holding. Kaylee, we couldn't dash. You can and you will. I handed her the key, at least until you're back on your feet. Dr. Jonathan appeared in the doorway. Final discharge papers are ready. And Kaylee, there's someone here to see you. A woman in a business suit stepped into the room. I'm Sarah from the nursing board. We've reviewed your performance during both of your father's surgeries, along with your overall record. My stomach tightened. With everything that happened with Jennifer, I worried there might be professional repercussions. We'd like to offer you a position as head cardiac nurse, she continued, with a significant pay increase and the opportunity to train new nurses. What? The way you handled both the medical and personal aspects of your father's case was exceptional, she explained. We need nurses like you in leadership positions. Mom started crying again, but this time they were happy tears. Dad reached for my hand. There's more, Dr. Jonathan added. The hospital board voted to forgive the remaining balance of your father's medical bills in light of your service and the unusual circumstances. We can't accept Dad started. Yes, we can, Mom interrupted firmly. We're done with false pride. That's what got us into this mess in the first place. As if on cue, Amy rushed in waving a newspaper. Have you seen this? Jennifer took a plea deal. The headline read, Former fake doctor pleads guilty. Agrees to help prosecute prescription fraud ring. 5 years, Amy continued. And she has to pay restitution. At least she's finally telling the truth, I said, surprised by how little satisfaction I felt at her downfall. She sent this. Mom held out a letter. I haven't opened it. I took the envelope, recognizing Jennifer's perfect handwriting. Dear family, I'm sorry. Not just for the money or the lies, but for overshadowing Kaylee all these years. She was the real thing, and I was just a shadow pretending to be light. I'll spend my time making amends, starting with telling the truth. Love, Jennifer. Well, Dad said after I read it aloud, that's a start. Speaking of starts, Dr. Jonathan stepped forward. Kaylee, would you join me for dinner tonight? To celebrate your promotion. Mom's eyebrows shot up as I felt my cheeks flush. I'd like that. Finally, Amy exclaimed. I've been watching you two dance around each other for months. As we wheeled Dad out of the hospital, past the cardiac unit where I'd spent so many hours proving myself, I felt something settle in my chest. Not revenge or vindication, but peace. You know what I remember? Dad said as we reached the car. The day you got your nursing acceptance letter. Jennifer threw such a fit that we barely noticed. I'm sorry for that. I'm not, I replied, helping him into the passenger seat. Everything that happened made me who I am. Even the hard parts. Especially the hard parts. Well, I for one am done missing the real things while chasing shadows, Mom declared. My daughter's a head nurse, maybe dating a doctor, and definitely my hero. Mom. I groaned, but couldn't help smiling. What? I'm allowed to brag about you now. In fact, I insist on it. As we drove home, my home, now they're home too, I thought about Jennifer sitting in her cell, finally facing reality. Maybe that was her path to becoming real too. You know what this means? Amy called from her car behind us. Celebration dinner. I'm thinking pizza at Kaylee's place. Perfect, I agreed. Real food, real family, real life. Dad caught my eye in the rearview mirror. Real proud of you, kiddo. Always will be. Sometimes the best endings aren't about winning or losing, but about finding your truth and standing in it, about family rebuilding itself around reality instead of illusion. Jennifer had played doctor, but I had become something better, myself. And that, finally, was enough. Finally was enough. Finally was enough. Finally was enough. Finally was enough.